This is Abe Friedtanzer from Awards Buzz, and I'm very excited to be speaking with Russell Tovey about Feud. How are you, Russell?
I'm good, thanks, Abe. Thanks for having me on.
Of course. Can you tell me about your journey to becoming part of this show?
I worked with Ryan Murphy on American Horror Story season 11, which was joyous. One of my favorite jobs. Had an amazing time. It was an incredible season. We got on very well. Myself and Ryan are big art lovers. So we connected outside of the business into the art world and the art business. And we became friends. We used to have dinners, and we still do. And had a dinner one night, and then he said, "You should play John O'Shea in Capote and the Swans." And I was like, "Who is that? What is that?" And he said, "It's happening straight after Horror Story. Stay in New York, come and do it." And I was like, "Okay." So when Ryan Murphy offers you something, you say, "Yeah." So there I was playing John O'Shea with this incredible cast, working with Gus Van Sant, and it was fantastic, actually. And I felt really pushed as an actor. I felt like I really was able to access something which I haven't shown before, and play a part that was completely different to myself, which is always what actors want to do. But this one especially felt like something that was a big stretch from me, thankfully, because he's horrific. Um, so there I was.
Well, before we get into the character, I'm sure, I mean, Ryan does so much. I'm sure these two shows and sets were quite different, just the experience of making the series.
Yeah, I mean, they were different. I mean, Horror Story was 10 episodes. I feature in 3 episodes of Capote versus the Swans. For people who don't know, normally on like episodic, where there's a lot of episodes, you have different directors. So each episode has like a director do 2 episodes. So we were changing up episodes. But with Capote and the Swans, it was Gus Van Sant was doing all of it, all of the work that I was doing. So I don't know. Yeah, I mean, the script was by someone else, but I love them all. But I mean, the story of Capote versus Swans was based on reality, and Horror Stories based on factual events, but inspired by. Whereas Capote and Swans was sort of real people, and that felt, when you're an actor and you play someone that existed, you do feel a responsibility to um, find the honesty and the truth and the authenticity in that. So I guess that was the difference, but not much difference with the way of filming.
What kind of research did you do into the real John?
There's not much on him. He's in the diaries. There was an image of him that I pored over, trying to sort of get some sort of kinetic, spiritual connection to this hideous man. And this is one picture of him in these glasses. So I just went to the costume designer, Lou Eric Ehrlich. I said, "Listen, I want these glasses, and I want to feel like this character." And I knew he was from New Jersey, so I tried to find the sound of New Jersey, by talking to a lot of people, by doing like research into that accent. I don't know New Jersey. I'm not from there. You can hear by my accent. So that was something that I felt you always have a responsibility to do that. He's a bank manager. I sort of can imagine a bank manager's life. So a lot of it was just sort of looking at that period in history, trying to find this character in multiple people who I was talking to. Being in New York, you hear that accent, that noise on the regular. So I was able to track that. But yeah, it's sort of, I wanted to find the voice. I think a lot of ways instinctively when you try and find a new character is where they sit in your body, where they walk from, where they breathe from. I thought that John O'Shea was quite I think he thought from his like groin, that's where he was based. He's like this sex addicted narcissist. He really is. He thinks from his guts. His guts are like what sort of tell him that's where his instincts are. And his voice, I wanted to find his voice quite low. And yeah, so I guess the research goes into, fundamentally what's on the script and then what you feel like you can pull to create these characters.
You've described him as hideous and narcissistic, lots of other unflattering things. Was there
Yeah.
anything you wanted to find to like about him? He obviously had this hold over Capote that, some connection.
I thought he was incredibly charming. I mean, I think most narcissists are. I think his bad behavior, like he's a terribly toxic man, but for Capote, for Truman, that was an aphrodisiac. Sadly, it felt like that for Truman was something that he was welcoming in his life. Felt like he deserved. So they ended up being this kind of very dysfunctional, toxic, violent coupling. I wanted to find stuff with him. I guess his humor. I thought, at times I thought I could make him funny and dry and ironic, um, which is in there. But it's, you know, I don't like him. I wouldn't want to date him. I wouldn't want to hang out with him. I can understand the attraction to some people of this character, but you do, when you play these characters, have to find an enjoyment in playing them. And I really enjoyed playing him. It was lovely to inhabit this bastard, really, because I haven't got to do that very often, and it's always a new energy to sit with. But when I finished at the end of the day, I'd had to sort of shake him off, fuck off, because he's hanging around too much.
What can you say about sharing scenes with Tom Hollander?
Heaven, I love Tom. I mean, everybody in it, but Tom, I know from the UK. I think he's a genius actor, a wonderful man, so generous as a person, so fun. This was one of those jobs where everybody was just firing on full cylinders. Everybody wanted it to be the best it could be at every level. So it was a real privilege to be on set with all those people and share the scenes with them. It was a real privilege.
Obviously, you don't get to interact with all that many of the cast members. There's anyone you were particularly disappointed you would have really liked to be able to share scenes with?
Police to Flockhart, I think. I met Demi and Diane and Chloe Sevigny and Naomi Watts and Tom. One of the first scenes we have in the Cote Basque where we're there in the restaurant. That was an amazing day. All sat round just like gossiping, filming, and then Gus Van Sant directing. It was very, very special. Yeah, I'd like to have hung out with Lisa Flockhart. We hung out in the makeup trailer. We chatted for a bit, and then we saw each other at the screening in New York. So that was lovely. Um, Joe Mantello, I love. Joe, I've worked with as a director and as an actor. We did Virginia Woolf, Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf together on Broadway, which closed down because of COVID. And then we played lovers in American Horror Story. And then we played enemies in Capote versus the Swans. We're really kind of dancing around each other as actors, which is really joyful. Who else did I? It was just yeah. I think I was felt very 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 excited to be on set every day.
Well, as soon as I knew I might have the chance to speak with you, I thought about a show that I always associated with you, which is Years and Years.
Yeah, yeah.
And it hasn't been that long since that show, but I still think the world has probably changed in unfortunate ways. Do you feel that that was a very sort of prescient show in terms of what it was showing about the future?
Yeah, I think what Russell T Davies was tapping into there was incredibly smart and almost prophet-like of what he was prophesizing was going to happen because a lot of it has. It's just quite terrifying to go back and watch that show now. Not that I have, but if one does go back and watch that show, again, another show that was incredibly important to me, incredibly special, a wonderful job. Everybody on that was the best. Yeah, and a show that you bring that up, and I feel very fond, and I have lots of memories rushing through my mind at the minute about that experience, and it was very, very special.
Are there any other shows or films that you've been in that really similar you wish people would ask you about interviews because they just bring up such strong memories?
Um, there's a movie I did called The Pass, which is about a Premiership footballer who is gay, and it's over three uh sections of his life career. and we did it as a play at the Royal Court Theatre here in London. Then we did the movie of it, and I'm incredibly proud of that. And I would love more people to see that because people who have seen that are really, really affected by it. Um, I mean, yeah, I mean, I want everyone to see Capote and the Swans, obviously, and I want everyone to watch American Horror Story season 11 because you know, it stands alone. It's a really powerful season, and what it covers is so brilliant and important and heartbreaking and terrifying, and I'm really, really proud of that. So yeah.
You feel like you have a stronger enthusiasm for one art form versus another? We're talking about theater and film, television, etc.
You know, honestly, if theatre paid you enough money, I would do plays the whole time. I love being on stage. It is incredibly special, and every time I've done a play that's been a success, it's changed my career, it's changed my life, really. So whenever anyone asks me, younger actors especially, like what should I be doing, I'm always like, the play's the thing. Get on stage. Meet writers, meet playwrights, meet directors who run theatres, get on stage. So that, you know, I love theatre. That's where I sort of learn everything. But for me, you know what I love? I mean, I love it all, obviously. I'm not going to say that choose one over the other, but there's something about television that feels so immediate and feels like you know, when you do film, sometimes you're like, is it going to be distributed? Where's it being distributed? How many movie theaters is it going to go to? Who's going to review it? What's the response going to be? There's so many things, but whereas with TV, like you make a TV show, you know it's coming out. You know when it's coming out. You know how many episodes it's going to be. You're like, fine, you know, you're open to the critical reviewers, but you also know that more people are going to have eyes on it, I guess. I find it, yeah, I think TV, I feel like I trust the process of TV as a mode of telling stories and feeling like you definitely will, it will definitely be seen by people.
On the note of TV that's seen by people, we love awards here at Awards Buzz, and I always like to ask everyone I'm speaking to if there's a performance or a show you've seen recently that you feel is particularly awards worthy.
Oh, for what eligible this season? Well, Tom for Swans, I think, you know, I'm just gonna stick with that. I think that his performance as Truman is beautiful, and to share scenes with him was just magic. So I feel like he deserves all the plaudits. Naomi Watts' performance was beautiful, really measured, really heartbreaking again. Yeah, so I'm gonna go team Capote and the Swans.
What do you have coming up next?
Ooh, what do I have coming out next? Well, there's a show that's coming out that I filmed literally 2 years ago, which I don't even know if I'm allowed to talk about, but that's coming out in July, there on Amazon. But maybe I've said too much. But you know, I shot that during COVID, and I shot it in Lithuania and Norway, and now it's sort of like I don't know what happened with it, but now it's come back, so that's very exciting. I can't talk about that. I have not allowed to say that yet. There's things. It's always things, but I'm terrified that I'm going to say something and everyone's going to be like, "No, you're not allowed to talk about that." So there's lots and lots of things. I'm having a lovely time.
Well, I'll keep an eye out for some vague references to
Yeah.
those countries and everything. So,
Yeah.
but thank you so much, Russell. Such a pleasure to speak with you.
You too. Thank you so much, Abe.